Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Ybot, and welcome to Starcraft II, Legacy of the Void. I just recently got my beta key here, so I'm going to start making videos here. I actually suppose I should double check to just make sure the NDA is completely lifted here, but I mean, there's other videos, people have been streaming it, so I'm sure. But yeah, I'll check that just in case, because, you know, I don't want to get kicked out of the beta as soon as I get in, if Blizzard even notices my video, which I'm sure they've got an algorithm for such things if they do. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I am playing against two easy opponents here, and I'm going to show you some of the new units and some of the changes to the existing units. So we're going to start off by taking a look at the Cyclone. We're going to take a look then at the new Liberator unit, which is a brand new unit. It has no portrait or sound bites at the moment. And we're going to take a look at some of the changes to the tanks, the siege tanks and medevacs, which basically medevacs can pick up siege tanks and drop them, which makes for some interesting opportunities in terms of setting up an attack or even just harassing with them. And I do apologize for the lag. Things aren't completely optimized, and my computer is a dinosaur as well. So just keep that in mind with regards to any sort of lag or latency that you see. Usually the game runs very well, however, I'm got an old computer and also I'm running fraps here, so that can be a problem. Anyway, I'm going to skip ahead here and I will show you guys some Cyclone action. As promised, I bring you the Cyclone. With its extreme sarcasm, it is the most sarcastic little drone I've ever seen. So according to Starcraft Wiki, it's used to have the Warhound's portrait. It is actually a drone. It is a completely mechanical unit. For whatever reason, it talks to you as opposed to the Widowmine that chirps at you. When it locks on, when you see those little lines there, that's the Cyclone locking onto its target. That increases the fire range. It has a fire range of 12 without the upgrades and can only shoot ground. There is an upgrade for it to shoot air and to increase the upgrade, or increase the distance rather, that it can hit up to 15. So the same as the Tempest, greater than the siege tank actually. So it's designed as a early on harass, and also one other thing about the lock on, you can attack while moving when you're locked on. I don't believe it has any effect on the Cyclone's attack in terms of actual distance. I think you can still attack as far as you can see, in theory. But they are very handy for certain things like kiting roaches, as I believe I'm going to attempt to show you right here. I'm going to attempt to go in and do some damage. At least I think I did. Let's see. Maybe not. Possibly no. We'll drop our mule. Go ahead and cause some trouble. There we go. We're locked onto some roaches. We're going to run away from them. And we're going to shoot at them. And try to get locked on again. Yep. Good, good. And I'm bringing in my Liberator for support. It'll fire wherever that big red circle is. Very good. I'm going to move on, and I'm going to show you guys the siege tank here, which is actually moving back. So give me a minute here, and I will pull back to earlier. Oh, and this is a very good example of the retreat with lock on, although that didn't stay on there too long. And unfortunately, not the greatest for combat. I've got my Battlecruisers out. You can see the warp jump is ready. We will get to that, but first, let's take a look at some of the new changes to the siege tank. Mainly that it can be picked up in siege mode, as I'm going to show you right here. So I've got my medevac. It's now outside of the medevac, like a Thor. It takes up the entire medevac space, and I skipped ahead here because there was a bunch of me just trying to get stuff right with my bases. Not all that exciting for a video. Very important to StarCraft II to play, but anyway. So right here, you can fiddle around with where you want the siege tank. It makes it a lot more mobile, which is a bit jarring for any StarCraft 1 or 2 players for that matter. The fact that a siege tank can just be picked up and dropped off, and you can abuse the crap out of the cliffs here. Low ground, high ground cliffs. I expect that what this is actually going to be used for is that medevacs are going to be towing siege tanks into battles along with Marines, and they'll be able to get in there a lot quicker. You'll be able to set up battles, favorable conditions for an engagement, and also you'll be able to do harass. I've looked into it. Harassing with a siege tank is actually cheaper than setting up with a dropship full of Marines. That being said, however, Marines are all minerals, and the siege tank's cost is like nearly half gas. Anyway, let's move on to the Liberator here, because I might run out of time with this one because I've got a lot to say about it. So, first off, the Liberator has a air-air attack, and then can transform into air-ground mode where it is stationary, paints an area of the map with this big giant bullseye that you're seeing right there, and can only fire within its bullseye or another Liberator's bullseye. So they're stronger in numbers. If you have units that can hit them in the air, then if you have ground units rather that can shoot up, make sure you avoid the bullseyes. As an enemy player, you will be able to see them. I checked with a Zerg player I was playing against on in just quick match, and he said yeah, he could see them, and he avoided the crap out of them and absolutely murdered my Liberators. For the air-air attack, they do 7 damage. Now that is splash damage, so they're similar to the Valkyries from Starcraft II War. Their air-ground attack is 85 damage, and it is a precision railgun strike, and that'll hit within the within those targeted bullseyes only. So if you can avoid the bullseyes, even if you're a Zerg player and you've got Hydralisks directly underneath the Liberator, they will not hit you unless it's within the bullseye of either that Liberator or another one of its compatriots there. So, anyway, I've got a bunch of Battlecruisers here, and they made some changes to the Battlecruiser. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here, and I'm going to show you guys what the Battlecruisers can do. See that second little ability with the green Battlecruiser there? Well, that ability is called Warp Jump. It costs 100 energy. Actually, no, I lied. It costs 120 energy. The Battlecruiser has a maximum energy of 200, so you can only use this once. You can't use it in rapid succession the way you can use the Yamato cannon. And you can teleport blindly across the map. You can warp blindly across the map. And I apologize, actually, the ability is called Tactical Jump, not Warp Jump. I'm going to be calling it Warp Jump because that's really what it is. They're using their warp drive to do a short-range tactical jump. But anyway, enough nerd talk here. What it can do is you can jump blindly across the map to any location. However, it does take a lot of your energy. You're not going to be using any Yamato shots. What this does do is it gets rid of the Battlecruiser's biggest weakness. Its biggest weakness whatsoever is that it's slow as hell, and it can be taken down by massed up cheap anti-air units. Anti-armor air units, so like the Void Ray will tear them to shreds, the Corruptor will tear them to shreds, and the Viking will tear them to shreds. So the changes that they've made here, I'm really hoping the Battlecruisers might actually be a little more viable. Well, probably won't be that great, but maybe be a bit more viable. So, dropping a couple more siege tanks there. This is actually a slightly better example of siege tank play. But anyway, for Battlecruisers, you can now escape with that ability. I did watch one of Total Biscuit's earlier streams where he was playing around with Legacy of the Void, and the first thing a Protoss player did was actually feed back his damn Battlecruisers. And that will prevent you from using the tactical jump, and then if the Protoss player has enough stuff, your Battlecruisers will just be murdered. EMP should do the same thing with Terran, like a Terran versus another Terran. That'll do the same thing, and that is how the Battlecruisers go out. They warp out immediately, so if you're about to die with your Battlecruisers, if they're about to get swarmed by a bunch of Corruptors, warp them back to base, and you'll be good. If you're warping them into another place, it takes about 4 seconds for them to appear. There's this green hologram of them until they do for you. I'm not certain what happens for your opponent, whether they see the green hologram or not. likely your opponent will see the green hologram as well, because that would just make things easier in terms of balance. Now, one thing to point out is that if you have a lot of Liberators, they can actually protect your Battlecruisers pretty well, because they can nuke the crap out of anything on the ground, and the Battlecruisers clean up the rest. And for the air engagements, the former, or at least current counter to Battlecruisers is like Mass Vikings, Mass Corruptors, Mass Void Rays, possibly Tempests, although I think that's been changed a little bit. And now the Liberator has a chance to counter that. So anyway, I'm going to show you guys another use for Warp Jump here, and probably one of the better uses. So right here, the Zerg player is attempting to take out my third. They didn't succeed. They lost their army. So what does the Terran player do now with its new ability? They warp their Battlecruisers on top of their main and start wreaking hell. And also dump them on top of the expansions as well, which I'm going to do in just a moment here. So, yeah, that command center is down for the other player, and I'm just going to warp those suckers over. Anytime now. Yeah, here we go. There should be a base there. There we go. So, Battlecruisers, unfortunately, they do the same amount of damage as before, which, honestly, Battlecruiser DPS is fairly good. It's just that they are very easy to get murdered by clumps of other units, and they cost so many damn resources that before they weren't worth it. For all I know, they still aren't worth it. But, yeah, this is just a little bit of hope there. So once again, you're seeing the Liberators' red targeting circles. They can only fire within that area once again. So if you've got a lot of Liberators and you can just paint the entire area, then they're very powerful. If you only got like one, they're super easy to counter. And just one thing that I haven't mentioned, Liberators do not hit buildings. So I've got a shot here later on of just like 4 Liberators sitting around a command center doing absolutely nothing. Or actually, no, I think I might have edited that out. But yeah, that's definitely a big fallback or drawback of the Liberator. I'm hoping they actually change that, because it's like one of the only units in the game, besides the Widowmine, that does not attack buildings. And there's, here we go here, I'm just going to clean up the rest of the Zerg bases here. And there we go, there's my little Liberators just chilling, not doing anything, not hitting any buildings. And we're just going to warp out some Battlecruisers over there to finish off those command centers, and things are pretty much done here. So that about wraps things up for me, guys. Thank you very much for watching this video. Once again, my name has been Ybot. Please subscribe to my channel if you like this particular video and you want to see more of my Starcraft II Legacy of the Void content. None of this stuff is finalized by any means. Like, the Liberator doesn't even have a portrait or sound bites yet, so it's brand new. So, yeah, also on my channel, you can see some Heroes of the Storm stuff, you can see some World of Warcraft stuff, and I also have a little bit of Civ 5 Let's Play on there at the moment, because I've been on a Civ 5 kick, because Civ 5 is fun. So, once again, my name has been Ybot. You can follow me on Twitter, @YBotPowered, if you're interested in knowing when my videos go live. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.